All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So in this one, I wanted to ask the question, could newcomer, right, fourth round pick safety Malachi Moore be a potential starter for the Jets this season? You know, one thing going back to, kind of putting myself back into like mock draft mode, a lot of fans were talking about, hey, the Jets have a lot of holes on this roster. There are a lot of team needs. There's depth issues. We're weak at a bunch of different spots. We could actually find starters in the first 3 rounds. Now, with Memu and Mason Taylor, that's already locked in. But what's going on with Azareye'h Thomas? Is he going to start? Is he going to be maybe that long-term play at the corner position, potentially first guy up off the bench, BPA style of approach? I think that's the direction that the Jets are probably leaning with AZ. But then we get to round 4. And Malachi Moore selected. And Moore is coming off a great season with Alabama, 70 tackles, 40 of them solo, 8 passes defended against, 2 picks, 3 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles at 6 foot 185. First team all SEC this past season. He's played free safety, he's played strong safety, he's played slot corner. He's had success all around the defense. And what's interesting is listening to, different draft insiders and whatnot, giving their thoughts on, that now that we have all these draft classes settled and whatnot. It's interesting when when Malachi Moore's name gets brought up, because people all of a sudden just start raving about Malachi Moore. Oh, he's experienced. He's this Swiss Army knife. He could do a lot of different things. This versatile player on the back end of the defense. Any defensive-minded head coach, any defensive coordinator would love to have just this like flexible piece back there. And you're looking at the safety position right now for the Jets. It is pretty thin. So the starting free safety, I'm going to assume, is going to be Andre Cisco at 24 years old. One of my favorite free agent acquisitions that the Jets made this offseason. I think at times he's shown the ability to hawk the ball, create big plays, create turnovers. And at only 24, I feel like now, all of a sudden, with working with really, really good corners on the outside, working with a former defensive back in Aaron Glenn, at head coach, someone who's spent a lot of time working and developing the safety position, going back to, his days with New Orleans. Of course, we could talk about Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, but even going back to the Saints, right? We saw the safety development over there. I think there's a reason outside of the whole like Syracuse coming home thing that Cisco picked the Jets. So I'm really excited to see what he can do next season. But outside of free safety, who's going to occupy kind of that strong safety role, that Brian Branch style of role? Maybe someone who can slot in, no pun intended, at the slot corner position. That player who's going to be making plays in the box, who can, handle mobile quarterbacks if they break outside. I mean, the Jets are going to be playing a lot of mobile quarterbacks this upcoming season. It's very, very important. Right now, that starting player on paper, Tony Adams. Outside of Tony Adams and Andre Cisco, you're looking at the rest of the depth chart. Again, it is very, very thin, especially looking at even, we can take a look at the younger players, right? Jarek Bernard-Converse, he was moved over to corner, so he's technically speaking a cornerback on paper. Jarius Monroe is someone who I did like back at Tulane. Someone who played corner, but projecting to the next level was thought of as maybe like a thumping strong safety who can make plays in the box. So I'm not completely going to sleep on Monroe for now, but Moore was compared directly to Brian Branch by Aaron Glenn in the post-draft press conference, which I thought was really cool. Brian Branch and Glenn actually talked about Malachi Moore back when he was at Alabama. And, I think all the connections are really, really, really cool. And one thing, too, that I've been thinking about, it kind of hit me yesterday when I was thinking about all those different, like, Jets pre-draft rumors, right? We're going to go with an edge rusher. We're going to, Tyler Warren, all those rumors, Jackson Dart at spot number 7. But one name that really, really picked up towards I want to say literally the last week of the draft, or the last week of the pre-draft process, Jahdae Barron, Todd McShay, Adam Schefter, all these different, Albert Breer, linking Jahdae Barron to the Jets. And Barron's kind of draft profile was this versatile chess piece who could play in the slot. He could bounce out to the outside position and, cover the boundary. If you want him to, he can play some safety. He's this versatile piece. I don't feel like Schefter, McShay, Albert Breer, they're all throwing this guy's name out there for the sake of it. As far as like a smoke screen goes, it's a very odd name to be, for example, if that was like a plant by the Jets, it's a very odd name just to, pick out of the hat. Like, why Jahdae Barron specifically at spot number 7? If you want to throw out a quarterback, that's fine. If you want to throw out Tyler Warren, potentially you get the Colts to move up, or someone to move up. We knew that the Bears were interested in a tight end. Obviously, they went with Loveland. Ashton Genty, you can make those rumors. O-line as well, but with Jahdae Barron specifically, it just kind of felt a little odd, which leads me to believe maybe there was some truth to it. Maybe Jahdae Barron was very high up on the Jets draft board, right? Maybe not that first or second player on the board, obviously, because we went with Armand Membu with Barron still there. But if you look at Malachi Moore's skill set compared to Barron's, it is similar in the sense of, okay, we have this versatile defensive back who can line up in different areas. So maybe there is like a highly detailed plan on how the Jets want to use Malachi Moore, and not so much like, oh, he's a versatile safety, let's just take a flyer on him in round 4. See, he's good at Alabama, probably going to translate well to the NFL. You get the sense that he was handpicked by the Jets. So going back to the original question, could Malachi Moore actually start for this Jets team? This is a position right now, strong safety. I feel pretty comfortable just giving Cisco the free safety job, assuming the Jets defense is going to look like the Detroit Lions from a year ago. I'm fine with Cisco kind of roaming around as that center fielding free safety, similar to like Kirby Joseph. But with strong safety, let's crack that thing open, right? Let's have this open competition. Throw everyone into the mix, everyone that is competing, and you all have a fair shot. Tony Adams, again, Monroe, Malachi Moore, and the best man's going to win, right? Year 1 of the regime, it's time to set the tone. Right, they're already in the middle of a culture change. They're already in the middle of scheme changes. It's time to set the tone. If there is a question mark about a specific position, I am totally fine just saying open comp, best man's going to win. I think at that point, everyone's game gets elevated. Everyone's, maybe, there shouldn't really be a question, but the overall work ethic and how you're showing up to practice, how you're showing up in film study, how you're showing up in meeting rooms and everything like that, all that stuff is elevated. Like, hey man, the starting job is actually available. It's in arm's reach. I just have to go out there and win it. I have to go out and defeat the other candidates. It's not just some pipe dream, like for example, like the backup quarterback of the Bengals or the Ravens or the Bills. There's no chance that they're just going to step in and, have an opportunity to win the job. But I like creating those open spots, again, especially if you have question marks at specific positions. So I could definitely see Malachi Moore start this season, but even if he's not the starter, like right out of the gate in year 1, I could very well see him being a pretty big contributor, despite him being a 4th round pick, someone picked on day 3. It really feels like the Jets wanted this style of player, this guy who can move around, this guy who has, big time production coming out of a big conference. It seems like the Jets got what they wanted here in Malachi Moore. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section on it. Quick little video, because, we go back and look at how last season was at the safety position, just the angles that were taken to the football, the missed tackles. Kind of felt like there was like a lack of overall toughness at the position. Guys were beat up. The lack of run defense, run support, if you will. It was just tough, right? The safety position has got to improve in 2025. I was going to say 2024. It has to. It absolutely has to. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, and let me know your thoughts. As always, go Jets.